Hillary Fordwich, right next to Hillary wants to ask a question. I can see it.
No. It's not asking a question, but I actually think that Pam Bondi is so credible. She either is or she isn't. And so when she said she actually had that list on her desk, she has never actually pulled that back. So she has not actually refuted that, although she has said she was relating and talking about some general files. So I think there's so many people involved with so much power, both in this nation, and let us not forget Prince Andrew, but people with influence and power literally across the US and the world involved in this. It's not just this administration. And that's why you're seeing this being buried.
Yeah.
No, I think it's they're going to have to try to maybe hold a press conference or to try to put this to rest and to reassure Americans that the government is not covering up whatever happened with Epstein.
Or risk of losing a lot of the base. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, you stick around for us. We're going to be right back with you two in just a moment. All right, well, 2 people are dead and 3 others are hurt after a gunman opens fire on a Kentucky church. Officials say the suspect shot a state trooper near Lexington Airport, carjacked someone, and then continued his rampage at the Richmond Road Baptist Church. A suspect was then shot and killed by officers on the scene. One victim is in critical condition, while the trooper and another victim are expected to recover. Police think the suspect may have a connection to the church. All right. Well, joining us now again is President of Stromark Business and Development Consultants, Hillary Fordwich. Hillary, you are a special guest today, so thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate it. So I want to get your thoughts on this tragedy, and do you think this could have been prevented?
Well, I think it's a ghastly subject and a ghastly tragedy. Prevented, that really puts the onus on people. And I think that's very sad to say, well, you could have prevented these deaths. However, I will say this. You know, I live in Maryland, and there are a lot of synagogues in Maryland, and every single one that you go past, you see police protection outside, you see police cars outside. So I do think, very sadly, with what's going on in the world and what is coming now to the US, I think that you may see all denominations actually having to take the same precautions that synagogues have to. From Maryland to Minnesota, across this nation, we may need to see that in front of all houses of any kind of religious denomination.
Why do you think maybe some other denominations are reluctant to do that?
I think that obviously because historically that they felt safe in our nation. We've always had a diverse amount of different kinds of religions, whether from Catholicism, when you look at the state of Maryland founded, Queen Mary, Bloody Queen Mary, and then Virginia was Queen Elizabeth I, the Protestant state. There was a Protestant state, there was a Catholic state, and this nation, people have always been safe, but the world is a very different place. And I think you've got so many people here now. Remember, in the Middle East, we've had thousands of years of religious strife, and a lot of that now has come to our nation. I think that's the future.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you think is spurring all this violence?
Well, obviously, a lot of it is the reaction. I mean, I think we should look at even, recently we've heard about those layoffs at the State Department. Remember when 12 people during 2024, during the Biden administration, 12 members of the State Department walked out of the State Department because of Biden's policies in Gaza? I think that what you're seeing is, again, the Middle East issues coming to our nation because there are so many people here now that are descended from there, and they feel very strongly. And you can't solve religious conflicts. Hasn't been done in thousands of years. Yeah,
you mentioned the State Department, mass layoffs at the State Department.
1,300, I think.
A lot of people not happy about it. What are your thoughts on that?
I do think, actually, I will say, living in this Washington, D.C. Region, I think everybody knows someone who's either relatives or friends or peers someone's been let go somewhere. What I will say is, if we tie the two stories together, when those 12 walked out in 2024, what terrible things happened in the world, because suddenly there were 12 weren't there anymore. I do think we have wars going on in Ukraine. We have wars in the Middle East. What were all the people at the State Department doing? I think that's the biggest issue. One of the things, remember, Elon Musk had said, he said you need to be able to put on paper what are your accomplishments this week. I think that's the question from the American public, the taxpayer, is what are you actually doing? Are we going to see any drastic changes from 1,300 no longer being employed?
Yeah, and it really got, at least from the figures that I saw, really bloated over the years, too.
Well, yes, when those 12 walked out, I don't know if Daniel remembers anything drastic happening to our nation because 12 senior officials suddenly walked out. I think that's what people look at and they say, okay, people leave, they walk out now, and now they're complaining because they're being fired. However, it is very tough in this region seeing so many people lose their jobs.
Yeah, and your thoughts on Doge overall?
Doge overall, I think that there are some very good points to it. I think my overall sense to that was, it was sort of like somebody having a number of zits on their face. You don't take a machete when you have zits. They have to be taken out very, I think that they could have been done far more, not delicately is not the right word, I think with some more precision. I think it could have been done far more precisely. I think it could have been done with a lot more, explanation as to why these positions were being eliminated.